All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
You've reached the internet's home for all things masonry. Join On the Level podcast as we plumb the depths of our ancient craft and try to unlock the mysteries, dispel the fallacies, and utilize the teachings of Freemasonry to unlock the greatness within each of us.
I have you now.
That was nice, man. That was nice.
I like that new little intro there.
That was great. I like the Darth Vader line in there. I don't know if you can see it, but I got Darth Tater right there. He's a potato head, Darth Vader. See him? Right there.
Nice.
And right there is Master Yoda, also a potato
and
head.
You got a Stormtrooper Lego head?
Yeah. I got Marilyn Monroe. Yeah. It's the Stormtrooper Lego guy. Yeah.
I have like 3 Legos
Actually,
here in the office. But...
Oh no, I got you, dude. Here you go. Wait a minute. Here we go.
There it is.
It's supposed to turn on if you do one of these. Apparently, you have to be 1% smarter than the lifesaver. So anyway,
mine's on a display stand with my Sith name in neon lights in the holder. Yeah, super nerd.
If you don't have Star Wars stuff within arm's reach of your desk, I'm not sure we can be friends.
So this plaque my officers gave me at at the next guy's at Worshipful Zach Wheatley's installation, and it says Chris Sith Burns,
nice.
And there's lightsabers on the left, and there's a Star Trek phaser on the right, and it says from the office, Sarasota.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you more of a Star Wars or a Star Trek guy?
I'm an equal opportunity lover of sci-fi and fantasy. I get down on both, but equally, man. I can't say one's better than the other to me.
I think on a visceral level, I like Star Wars better, but Star Trek is this like really deep commentary on the nature of humanity. You know, it's like
social commentary, big time. Yeah. I think
it's a snapshot in time. You know, it's like a time capsule for me.
Yeah, Star Wars appeals to the child in us. It's like that fantasy of like I want to save and be the hero, and
it's really a Western if you look at it programmatically, right? Like,
yeah,
it sort of is. Whereas Star Trek's more this running commentary on the nature of humanity.
It used to be. They have. I don't know if you watched. Is it Star Trek Discovery? Where they go way into. I just can't with that. I tried so hard. And it's like this one woman saves the universe every episode. I'm like, get out of here with this crap. I'm like, I can't do it. And I was almost giving up on it. I'm like, I can't do it with this modern Star Trek stuff.
Give me William Shatner like overacting, bouncing off the rails any day. You know,
There's something on the wing. Something. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I dressed as Kirk one year, and I talked for Halloween all day as Kirk, and it annoyed everybody around me. I loved it.
Nice. Outstanding. Thanks for having me back, man.
Yeah, man. Welcome back to the show, the new On the Level podcast. You've been on the
figure you brought me back because of my obvious charm and good looks now that you've gone to the video format. Yeah. I mean, who else are you going to get that's going to wear his finest workout attire on the podcast? So I
mean, all we can see is your shoulders, so there's no there's no judgment here. I see a little bit of tattoo coming through there under the sleeve.
Yeah, I got a few.
You too? Oh, you got a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Does that go all the way around the back and the front?
No, I haven't. I've been saving that space, but I got a pretty gnarly like Masonic chess piece coming up.
Oh,
of course, it's all going to be Hermetic symbolism, so even most Freemasons will have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, but it's okay. It's all right.
Well, I'm glad that you came back. The reason you're back so soon is because we didn't get much time in our first interview. We were actually on location in DC. There were distractions. We actually had to go to an installation, so we were trying to ram it in there because we just met you, and we knew when we left it would be difficult. So we just got a quickie in there. And I think we touched on marketing a little bit in that short interview that we did. I think it might have been mostly marketing that we talked about.
And cigars.
And cigars, yes.
My two favorite things.
Oh, the cigar the cigar stuff's really got some interesting things happening, but we'll talk about that when I can talk about that.
All right.
Can't talk about it just yet. But our primary sponsor is the Three Ruffians. They fund some of the software we're using, so appreciate that. And I hear that I don't smoke cigars very often, but I hear they make a pretty good stick.
Yeah. Well, I've had all of theirs now, I believe.
Oh, you did?
I tried them all. Yeah. I really liked the one.
Honest to
I don't remember the names, but I liked the one with the blue band the best. It was like a medium. Yeah. Sort of, to me, it had characteristics of like Honduran tobacco. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what it seemed like to me.
It's Cuban leaf Nicaraguan grown, I believe.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was it had a bit of natural sweetness, like a almost a milk chocolate, and some earth. You know, it was good.
To me, every cigar is the same. They smell the same. They taste the same. I'm like, I got to develop my palate for sure.
You know, in the beginning, I was that way, but I tend to be intentional about things that I'm interested in. So what I did is I got like a bullet journal, a little pocket-sized bullet journal, and started taking like a glue stick and put it in a fanny pack, you know, like, so it'd be riding under my clothes. Like, I was real serious about it. So I would go smoke a cigar. I would take the band off, glue it, stick it in a bullet journal, and I would write down my impressions of like what I thought the flavor notes might be that I was experiencing. And then later on, I would go Google it and match whatever I thought with whatever the internet said.
Yeah.
And over time, I started to like make the connections, like, okay, that's earth that I was tasting, or that's dark chocolate or raisin, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I still don't have like a huge vocabulary, but I can get pretty close, like colloquially, you know what I mean? To
I hear guys talking about that, and I also hear wine drinkers talk like that, and I just know good, bad, you know. I've had a $600 bottle of wine, and I like my $7 bottles more. You know, I don't have enough palate, I guess, to be kind of like snoozy. What's the word I'm looking for? Like
snobby, like a snob about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like if it costs more than $14 at Publix, it probably ain't happening. But and my vocabulary for wine like pretty much tops out at like grapey or dry. You know what I mean? Like that's the
I don't like the fruity stuff. I want it to be like bitter. Almost like a salad dressing. That's what I like.
Yeah, like you're punishing yourself. Like, drink this and like it.
All life is about that. I'm going to punish myself. That's why I smoke Marlboro Reds if I'm going to smoke. I want a menthol. Come on.
None of this vaping stuff. If you're going to do it, get cancer. By God.
Exactly. Get cancer and make it taste like a bear's butthole. Ass and toenails. That's what I go.
We're way off track already. Like this is what happens.
It's called rabbit holes, man. Everybody that listens to this show knows about it, and that's why they don't listen that often, probably. You know, it's like, God damn, I thought we were going to talk about marketing, and they're talking about tasting bears' buttholes. 8 minutes.
Well, I know that you and I have both been doing marketing since probably about 7 a.m. this morning, right? So,
I right up until we started recording. Yes, today.
I think I heard somebody speak about you the other day. I heard the tail end of a conversation, and he was like,
don't believe what they say.
I know what it was. We're starting to see the candidates for the Grand South like go around and do their spiels. And I heard a spiel and it had some marketing components. And he was like referencing this worshipful master from his district who's a professional marketer and this and that. I knew it was you. I knew it was you right away. So
it might not be. There's a few of us out there in Florida actually that are kind of known as marketing guys that do stuff in the fraternity. So
we should make a club or something, you know?
The thing is, like, most of us are loners, you know, that's why we're doing what we do. We don't like to work with others. We know we're smart and we know we can help people. And so we pretty much tell, hey, if you talk to anybody but me, you're an idiot because only I know what to do. Like, I'm the smartest guy in the world.
It's practically required to be a professional marketer that you believe in your own legend, right? Like, how else are you going to be like, oh yeah, I'll spend your $100,000 a month on ads? Like, you just have to believe that you're the guy. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
Or else, what are we doing here? Like, I might be successful with your $100,000 a month. No, like, absolutely not.
Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to do my best with 100,000. Okay, I'll do my best. No one wants to hear those words. They want to hear.
That's actually I don't know what kind of budgets you guys work with, but that's a reasonably small budget for me. Like I usually do.
Oh, we do it all, man. I have people that spend. I have some franchises, and the franchisees spend $100 a month on Facebook, and I manage that.
Really
And then
interesting. This
yeah.
is we definitely should not discuss this on this podcast, but I'm interested in your model. Like, how do you staff up to do that profitably?
Yeah.
Because presumably
that's
you'd have to have
not
900 of those people.
So I look at actually this is a great time. This is a great time because Freemasonry is essentially a franchise model. If you look at it, it's a business. We have the Grand Lodge of Florida, which is our franchisor. Every Blue Lodge is a franchisee, and we're supposed to operate under the same guidelines the franchisor gives us, right? Yeah. And our job is to sell the product. That's why we have franchise licenses, aka warrants and charters, that allow us to sell product in our areas. Now,
okay, I dig it.
Right? It's exactly a marketing. It is 100% a marketing thing. And the way I look at the franchise model is it doesn't make sense until you get to scale. If you
absolutely,
if you run a marketing program like the Grand Lodge Marketing Reimbursement Program at 5 lodges, 1 lodge is going to do great and 4 might suck because they do it differently, right? But if you had 150 lodges running it, I think you would see that this is a massively successful program overall.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all like all marketing in the modern age is operates on the law of averages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think what you would consider to be an elite tester, empirical split tester, sort of my claim to fame. And I'm really good at it. And you know, for most clients over in due course, I will get, like if they come in with a 5% conversion rate, I'm going to get them 10. You know what I mean? But I still fail 6 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
It's just the process of iteration in the law of averages. I always win because I'm tenacious and I hypothesize well.
And isn't that true about almost everything in life? It's the guy who overcomes the obstacles and gets good at overcoming the obstacles that becomes the most successful.
Yeah. Like I sit down with clients that I'm onboarding and I say, look, we're going to fail a lot and we're going to achieve your goals. Like we're going to fail unto your desired outcome, but it's all about intelligent iteration, isn't it? You know?
Other people call it A/B testing. That's what a lot of people are. I'm going to A/B test. I'm going to A/B test. And I hear it all the time. And even from my own team, we'll be on meetings. We're going to A/B test this and that. And I get off the call and the client's on, and I'm like, have you ever made a decision for this client based on the A/B testing you've done? No. Right.
Well, I think the vast majority of people don't know how to do it correctly. And I have a graduate level education in statistics. So like, if you want to get into A/B testing, we'll run everybody off your podcast. Like I'm just going to tell you right now, nobody cares.
I was telling you.
If you want to mess them up next time, just be like, okay, what was the level of confidence on that? And if they can answer that question, then say, well, what was the statistical power? And they'll immediately melt down because they have no idea what you're talking about. So.
Yeah. When you know what you're talking about, you really don't have any fear in your market because in marketing, and I don't know that every industry is this way, but marketing is a bit of a commodity. You can get it almost anywhere. And the quality is really hard to judge for the consumer. They really don't know. They're basing it off testimonials and what you tell them. The only way for them to know.
I can go through my Facebook DMs and pull out 900 testimonials. Like all marketers definitely are not created equal. Absolutely.
No, definitely not.
So,
we both have the same. When you're in marketing, rarely are you getting a first-time customer that's never done marketing before ever. It happens sometimes, but very rarely. Usually you're taking someone that has been abused by another marketing company. Mm-hmm. And I often compare to new teammates that come into my company that, look, you have to look at this as an abused wife relationship. This person has been abused for years. And now anytime you move quick, they're going to get twitchy. They're not going to trust you. You're going to have to over-explain, like, okay, I'm going to put my hands on your shoulder now. This is a friendly gesture. Like, that's how you got to treat these people as a marketer. Like, look, I'm going to spend the money over here. Don't worry, this is safe. It's good. Like you said, we will make mistakes, but you're going to wind up on top. You got to let me do my job.
Yeah, and ironically, approaching the craft to spend money on marketing is just like that. Even if it's going to get reimbursed, they're like, God, I don't know. It was, it was like, whoa, I don't know. It's guys, it's going to get reimbursed.
So this started because Most Worshipful Foster cornered me at a Grandmaster's visit before he was the Grandmaster. Someone had said my name, probably someone that I'm from my lodge or something. And he's like, I want to do a program like this. And I said, all right, I only have one requirement. And he said, I can't make a new committee. I'm like, I don't want a new committee. You have to pay for it. But don't worry, everything's going to be trackable and it's going to be cheap. No more than $600. And he said, okay, I'm in. Because I thought in my ignorant mind that if they paid for it, everyone would do it.
Right.
Like, where's the risk if they're paying for it? Like, there's no risk. Why wouldn't everybody do it? It's
so funny to me, literally, like I'm Gen X. Like I was born in 1980 on the line. So I'm Gen X, but I'm Gen Y, right? I'm like the elder millennial for real, That's Gen X in my sensibilities.
Like a generational Down syndrome? You're missing a chromosome, or you have an extra?
I'm weird. I straddle both things. So like, I definitely remember what it's like to drag the curly phone cord across the house and under your door to like talk to a girl. I definitely remember that. Sure. And the rotary dial, I remember that. But I'm also equally comfortable with technology.
Yeah.
Right. So,
podcasting we were young when the internet became a thing. I was still playing Mortal Kombat actively,
100%.
We were hungry for that stuff when it came out. So we adapted.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it revolutionized everything, but if you're below a certain age, you sort of went with it. If you're still young enough to have been malleable and ductile when it started to happen, you sort of swam upstream and I'm okay. I'm okay with podcasting. I'm okay with the internet, whatever. The internet scares the hell out of the craft. Like, it's a dark chasm of misunderstanding.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of dedicated to, or at least one of the things that I'm passionate about is sort of helping the craft understand that this is actually advantageous to us. It's a benefit. It can be a boon if we approach it correctly. And so that's why I'm super appreciative of the things that you're doing with podcasting, et cetera. So some of these modalities begin to be adopted. They can raise the tide for all ships.
You're fairly new to the fraternity. How long now have you been a Master Mason?
So 8 months raised a Master Mason.
8 months. And
you got to keep me out of trouble, by the way, in this conversation. Because I'm so new, I'll offend somebody. Guaranteed.
You will, undoubtedly. We both will. Don't worry. That's not a time thing. That's just a personality thing.
I was at the lodge. We were looking at the signs out on the outside of the lodge, and I was like, that sign looks like hell. And obviously the guy standing next to me was a dude that like hand painted the sign. I'm like,
yeah. I stood in lodge and I said, I'd like to make a motion that you let me redesign our pin. And then the past master popped up that designed the pin 2 years ago. I was like, what are you talking about? This is brand new design. I was like, I meant, it's beautiful. I just meant give options for the pin, not redesign it,
No offense. Yeah. But I'll give you a prime example. So it's election season or getting ready to be for the Grand South, right? So they're starting to travel around and do their speaking thing. And I'm not going to name any names just to be safe, but I've already heard one speech where the guy came in hot on marketing. He's like, we need to do better with marketing. I lean forward. Good.
Did you ask him questions? Did you get him to
no,
put him in the corner?
By the time he was done talking, I could tell it was absolutely pointless to ask questions.
Okay.
So, but he's like, so what we need to do is we need to get blurbs for the things we're doing in the community in our local newspapers.
Impossible.
And irrelevant.
Impossible. So when I became the first position I held that got me all excited in Freemasonry, I was a district committeeman for public relations and publicity. Go look up the definition in Florida for what public relations and publicity's job is. You're supposed to contact the news and get our local stuff, whatever's going on at your lodge in the news. 2 years, every stated meeting, every call communication, any spaghetti dinner, anything we did, nobody returned a call ever. Not for the newspaper, not for the news channels, nobody.
Well, you know this because you're a marketing guy, but first of all, pitching for PR is hard. There are people who that's their entire life. And they have formulaic, rigorous approaches to pitching. And like actual PR professionals, when they want to place media, they'll send out 10,000 pitches. They have a whole curated list,
Sure.
and they'll spend days like workshopping what they're saying in the pitch and deriving value and portraying interest, because the news needs to feel like people are interested.
Right.
All of which is a reason why it probably isn't going to work at scale. But the more important reason that we shouldn't care is that nobody has read a newspaper for 15 years.
Right.
Like nobody. Like if it depends on who you want, right? If you want, and look, I got no problem with boomers. Love you guys. If you want boomers who are going to be in the fraternity for 5 years before they can't walk up the stairs anymore, let's do newspapers. If you want everybody else on planet Earth, I don't read a newspaper. I read a feed reader. Like right. I get my feed directly from AP, and it comes directly to my phone. I haven't touched a newspaper. Newspapers are a complete waste of energy to me. And I think most people in our generation or younger have no concept. It's like the rotary phone. They don't have any concept of what this is. And so, ergo, chasing that modality of communication is a complete waste of time.
It is. It's one of the many outdated things that we're still clinging to as an organization. And, that it's like our leadership in these jurisdictions, it varies. But in the state of Florida, if you look at the average age of our Grand Lodge officers, it is representative of the membership. It's an older crowd, right? Now, I was doing a lot with Texas recently, and the Grand Lodge officers in Texas aren't like that. You got guys in their 30s that are Grand Lodge officers in that state. Yeah. And I believe that's just because they have different thinking about recruitment. And we're trying to get people thinking more about recruiting because, as you said, the people that we're trying to recruit, whether they're 20 years old or they're 45, 50, 60 years old, probably aren't reading newspapers. They're probably reading social media.
100%. And so if you really wanted to, like in terms of return on effort, right? Let's just ignore money for a moment. Let's just talk about return on effort. If you really wanted to raise the tide for the craft, the way to do that is not pitching PR that's going to get small placements in community newspapers at best, and where major news outlets are really not going to care. There's a whole impression-based ecosystem out there where you can deliver tons of information in a concise format that people care about very, very cheaply. So if you really wanted to do PR for your lodge, get a line item expense of $50 a month.
Yeah.
And shoot videos and photos of what you're doing in the lodge and in the community and boost it. Boost it for, $2 a day and watch what happens. Like it will work far better. And so look, when it comes to marketing, I come off hot because I'm an expert at what I do. Like unassailably, I make a living. I run several businesses. I'm the CMO of another business, So like I come off hot, but I'm sympathetic.
Chief marketing officer for people that don't work in marketing. Like what the hell is a CMO?
Yeah.
There you go.
So I come off hot because I'm passionate about it. Yeah. But at the same time, I understand the reticence, particularly of the more aged Freemasons, to sort of adopt these modalities. And I get that it's scary, and that's always true of things that we don't understand.
Sure.
But the ways in which Freemasonry has traditionally spread don't exist to a great extent anymore. We're talking about the nuclear family, which is famously disintegrated in this country. And we're talking about the backyard barbecue, right? And I don't even know my neighbors. Like I wave at them, but like these things don't exist anymore. And so at some point in time, we're going to have to think about more intelligently the way that we're going to approach this problem. And so maybe better than talking about the marketing reimbursement program, which is already out there.
It is.
And works. Like you've done it in Sarasota to great effect. I intend to do it as soon as I can get the lodge cleaned up. So it will work. It's a perfectly good program.
Sure. There's more than one way to skin a cat, though, right? That's all we know about marketing.
Yeah.
There's definitely not only one silver bullet to anything.
No.
There's so many
Definitely.
different things you can do of varying degrees of effort and money and time. They're going to net you a positive result, whether it comes to awareness, building positive vibes in your community, or bringing in membership. And we should probably give people some concrete things that they can do in their lodge. Like the average Joe that isn't an expert in marketing like you are, just things that brothers can do with a moderate level of computer ability. Because
I think that's the problem in a nutshell. Like you and I look at it and go, okay, it's a video lead ad on Facebook.
Yeah,
Couldn't be easier. Like stealing, so easy. For a brother that probably is a late adopter of email, you know what I mean? Like to get online and get into Facebook and get into, you have to be able to create a page. You have to be able to create a business manager. You have to be able to link the two things.
Yeah.
Right? You have to write an ad. You have to upload a video. You have to get the ad approved. God help you have any sort of compliance issue. Right? There are significant barriers to entry to the craft to adopting.
Let me tell you, I will walk anyone through creating an ad. It should take 15 minutes. I have spent an hour and a half on a call with brothers trying to figure out how to download a video or find a file they downloaded on their computer. That's the level of computer expertise we're talking about here, with many people that are in charge of the things that are requiring some technical expertise.
Yeah.
So it's we really have to think as marketers that are Masons. We really have to find a way to communicate with those people and get them to understand what we're saying. Because when we use big words, they just shut down. They're not even listening anymore. They're just
100%.
tuned out. It's like, this guy he thinks he's so smart, blah, blah, blah. Well, whatever. I get it. 100% get it. That's why I kind of stopped talking tech. When I would talk to lodges, I would talk emotion. Your lodge is crumbling. It's going to be gone in 25 years. Nothing here. And you're here right now for a short time. You can do something about it. Are you not going to do something? You get them all whipped up emotionally. And they're like, yeah, what do I got to do? And now we can have the conversation.
See, I go about this the wrong way because I think it's foundational to understand why, right? Yeah. And this works well in business and it works very poorly in Freemasonry. So to understand why it is that you need to do this thing. So I like to lead with, this is how algorithms operate. And this is why this is how Facebook makes money. And if you understand how Facebook makes money, then you understand what you need to do to get syndication in this platform.
Yeah.
It ain't going to work. I'm going to have to do what you're doing.
You used several words that have multiple syllables in them. Okay? You got to trim that down, man. Less syllables,
But I don't think the craft is stupid. I don't. I think that they can play if they want to play.
When you're talking algorithms and you're talking, it gets complicated for them. Really complicated. And like I said, it's not that people can't understand this. It's that they tune you out.
Yeah, that's a fact.
They can understand it. Absolutely, they can understand it if they just listen.
Right.
That's the key. You got to get them to listen somehow. Because
see, I'm committing marketing mistake number one, right? Which is not leading with pain.
That's right.
People only respond to pain. They only respond to inconvenience and pain in their own life. And if you don't lead with pain, you're irrelevant. Nobody cares what you have to say because you're not solving any active problem.
They already know you're smarter than them, especially in this area. So for you to come in that way, they're shutting.
Why you got to go in on North Florida, man? What's up with that?
I mean, I really care about the fraternity. I really do believe in the tenets of the fraternity, at my core. And that's why I'm willing to do whatever it takes to try to do my part to help it succeed and thrive and grow. And that's why I have zero tolerance for Masons in name only. If you're not a real Mason, then I have no time for you. I don't care what title you have. I don't care what position you have. I'll respect the title because I am a Mason. But I don't have time for you in my life. And we need to bring in more people that care about the tenets of the fraternity more than they care about the titles and the honors and the accolades. Because I think we have had a period of time, there was a period of time around World War II where we peaked, Those guys just wanted brotherhood, man. They just wanted structure, because that's what they had, brotherhood and structure in the military, and they were seeking it in this.
Well,
And
I
they
get
didn't
that
really
because
care.
I'm military, so
You're
like
military,
I have the
exactly.
military background, and it is a really great replacement for the camaraderie of people that you served with. What happens is you spend some time in the military, you make these really deep, abiding friendships, and then they're dislocated. And you know what I mean? People are all over the place. So like,
Yeah.
I have lots of really great friends, none of whom I ever see. You know what I mean? Because
Because you're
they're
scattered to the winds after you're
yeah.
out of the military.
So I needed that out of Freemasonry. I needed
Yeah.
camaraderie with men that you can believe in, that
Yeah.
are worthy of respect and trust.
Right.
You know, and for the most part, that's what I found here, and one of the reasons why I think I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I love the craft. I come off hot because
It's a
for one thing, people don't know this about me. I'm a stone cold introvert. Like, I do not enjoy being around like lots of people or in front of people. The irony being that I do marketing for a career and I'm always in boardrooms.
Yeah.
So I've learned how to marshal my energy together and have presence and fill a room with my energy if I want. But I'm not naturally gifted at interpersonal relationship. And so when you get me on a topic that I'm passionate about, I come off hot, you know, and I'm just passionate. And so sometimes like socially retarded, you know what I mean? Almost.
That's good though, because people need to see the passion. They need to see how like this lit a fire into this guy. I better, you know, that it might make them pay attention to you. If you're really passionate about what you're saying, they might actually get their focus for a minute.
Look, you messed up. You made me a master mason. Now you got to deal with me. Like, I'm here. We here now. So,
no, we need brothers like you. I mean, there were brothers before me, I'm sure, trying to get more marketing into the fraternity, trying to utilize better practices, less waste, streamline. You know, I'm sure there were. It didn't feel like it to me because I felt like I was on an island all by myself fighting against the ocean. And
you had to slog
we had
through
that conversation. You felt the same way at the beginning, like you're screaming into the void. No one's listening. Like, look at my lodge. Look at what's going around to me. Like, does anyone care about the big picture? Does anyone?
I think I just figured out what this episode's going to be about. Really, it's not really about marketing. Like, it's about leadership, because you accomplished a thing in terms of getting the marketing reimbursement program set up and creating the scaffolding, if you will, and creating a process.
That's how I see it, exactly like that. I hope that I provide. I was really sad when you told me about your experiences, because I was like, damn it, I was hoping people like you would come in behind me and not have to fight quite as hard, like be a little bit easier for you to pick up the ball and run it further down the field, basically.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think it's reached adoption in the consciousness of the craft yet.
It has.
But what's really interesting to me is, like, I think it's probably certain that there were people who tried before us to do what we are doing.
Absolutely.
And yet you managed to do it and they didn't. And you're gonna balk at it when I say this, but you're a naturally gifted leader. Like, you run a company, you have all of these skills. So talk to me about that, because I think you're a lot better at that than I am.
Hold on now. Like, this is my podcast. I do the interviewing here.
Sorry.
That's not fair. I think we share a lot of common traits, and I think people that own their own companies and are entrepreneurs often do. We're crazy. We're not normal people. We do things
certainly not rational at all.
No, you have to be willing to take risks, right?
Mm-hmm.
That normal people don't have the fortitude to tolerate the risk. Yeah. And like you said earlier, you're going to fail a lot. You're going to fail. Mm-hmm. So you have to learn how to make the failure part of the success. It's a normal part 100%. Of the process to fail, right?
I wrote a book called The Fail Formula, and that's exactly the book right there. Like, how to iterate unto success. Yeah, it's on Amazon. If you want to check it out, I wouldn't.
The Fail Formula by Jonathan Greene on Amazon. Check it out. I'm going to get my copy. I want it autographed next time I see you.
All right. I just released another book last week that was like, it's called Virtually Unstoppable, and it's about online instruction and pedagogy for like delivering course instruction online. So I just write books. You definitely don't read them.
That's don't worry about that. Academic background. I
Yeah.
think you were probably steeped in it so long you can't stop. There's no stopping that. And
There's no stopping. Don't feel like you need to read them. Like if you did, you'd be the one. I'd know right away.
I'll
So.
read them. I love reading, especially stuff from people that I know, because I get to know you better as a person when I read your work.
Yeah.
If nothing else,
And
I read
then
it for that.
I guess probably last year, I released another one. It was called Copy Savant. It's like
Copy Savant.
how to write conversion copy that works. And so one of the problems that I was experiencing in marketing was that and this is probably true of basically everything now that YouTube has been proliferated at large, right? Is like,
Yeah.
there's so much information about how to do absolutely anything.
Yeah.
That people will go and start researching how to write good copy for my business ads, right? And there's just so much information that it's almost disinformation.
Yeah.
And they end up collecting best practices because the delivery of format of 99 out of 100 YouTube videos is like, here's what worked for me,
right,
in my specific vertical.
Right.
Entrepreneurs grab that information, say, I'm going to do that. And they go and they write their little ad and it flops. And they're like, why?
Different
vertical. I don't know. Why do you think? Right? Because it was a different audience and a different product and a different vertical. And so what I wanted to do, and this is, if you want to know me, this is the way my brain works, right? I wanted to reduce how to write effective high converting ad copy to a series of first principles of consumer psychology, right? Like what actually causes people to take conversion action. You buy a thing, you don't buy a thing, right? And so I really worked for a really long time at reducing, let's throw all the best practices out, let's reduce it to first principles. Because if you understand the first principles, you can become your own walking best practice. You put me in any vertical, any product, I'm going to be able to synthesize what is the right thing to do based on the principles of conversion science and consumer psychology, right?
Yeah.
Like, so making a long story short, and this is relevant to the craft, the reason that people decide to do something or not to do something invariably is because the intrinsic value of the thing is greater than the cost associated with attaining it. Very simple. So, for instance, they have this really dope new air fryer. It's got 2 chambers. I don't know, but like 2 chambers in an air fryer. Come on, bro.
So you can do your French fries and your green beans at the same time.
My Dino Nuggies and my Arby's French fries at the same time.
Curly fries?
Yeah, bro. Is there any other kind?
Yeah, straight now. I don't know why.
2 chambers. So I go into Walmart. I'm like, I'm going to get this thing. $228. Okay, so now in my mind, there's a rubric that's running, and it's the same as what runs in your mind when you make any purchase decision, and it's the same as what happens in anyone's mind, regardless of culture, situation. It's always, is the utility of that thing great enough that I want to part with $228? In my instance, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand how much I love my Dino Nuggies. All right, but
like, now, have you ever heard of a product called Nugs?
Nugs, yes, yeah, the plant-based chicken.
Yes,
their marketing is amazing,
right?
Oh my God, it's so good.
My wife got those Nugs, and I liked them. They were cool, especially put a sauce on them. But when I saw the marketing, that's when I got impressed. I was like, damn, these people
have
know
somebody
how to
who knows what they're doing over there, for sure.
Talking about marketing, guys, go look at Nugs online. Check out what they're doing. That's amazing branding that they got going on.
It's funny. I've never spoken to a marketer about Nugs that didn't geek out with me on the quality of like their go-to-market strategies. Primo. It's so good.
The other one I like, I got a bidet from Tushy. Look at Tushy.
Is it pretty good?
Oh man, it's good. It's hilarious.
I used to break down when I was trying to intro people to YouTube advertising. I used to break down Purple Mattresses YouTube videos.
Purple Mattresses? I'm not
Purple
familiar.
Mattress. Yeah, like go look at their YouTube videos. It's classic high shelf like video advertising. It's entertainment, but super high converting. I know the guy that ran them. His name is Bryant, and he's a genius, like seriously genius guy. But it's infotainment, but somehow they've done it in such a way that it still causes conversion action, which is it's really great.
That's the best. That's kind of where we need to be as Masons. It's like we need to entertain, but also sell our product, right?
Yep.
Like And when you talk about cost versus value, people don't know the cost of getting involved in a fraternity.
Yeah.
It's easy for
there
us.
are multiple kinds. There are multiple kinds of costs. Think about this for a minute. There's fiscal cost.
Yes.
How much money do I have to exchange for it? There's also mental cost. How hard mentally, how rigorous is it going to be? And there's time cost. All of the some people would call that opportunity cost. Some people would call mental cost friction if you're a marketer. And then there's fiscal cost, but all of those are different cost types. And so if I'm a marketer and your value assessment of whatever it is I'm asking you to do is not high enough that you're just going to obviously say yes, then the tools that I have to play with are modulating the perceived cost. So I got to figure out a way to message about the fiscal cost, the time cost, the mental cost until value outstrips cost. And then they do it. Right?
Unless the only thing that can mess up your formula is emotion.
Yes.
When someone's emotions get involved, all that logic is out the window.
Right.
They're either definitely going to do it no matter what, or they're definitely not going to do it no matter what based on emotion.
For a point conversion, yes. Like at a fixed point in time, absolutely. Emotion will. And that's why, and now we're coming full circle. So hopefully people, after I say this, people will understand why I'm so anti-billboard, so anti-newspaper, right?
Oh, me too.
How then, without the benefit of narrative, of storytelling, how then are you going to convince people to overcome their mental approbation to Freemasonry? So they've heard, like almost everybody, and can we talk about it? Is it okay? Almost everybody that I've talked to about Freemasonry has said, bunch of old white dudes who are racist and, don't have any sensibility about the world.
Yeah, I get that.
9 times out of 10, that's what I get.
Yeah. Or the
ironically, 2 out of our 3 past masters in our lodge are people of color.
Good for you.
Definitely not racist. I mean, okay. There are some places, right?
We're in the South.
We're in the South.
Yeah.
But I see that as being a challenge that mostly the craft has overcome, or is certainly working towards reconciliation. And then, sort of like the square old white guy visage, right? And it's powerful to people. Not obviously I'm an old white guy, so like fine.
I know, me too.
But it's powerful to people. It's a powerful approbation. And so the only way you can overcome that is with messaging, is with narrative.
Yeah.
Right. So the same thing when we wanted to get women involved in the NFL as fans. The gridiron was not enough for them. Like, at the time when this started to be a conscionable strategy on the part of the NFL, women were watching Maury Povich and soap operas. And the NFL says,
Ricky Lake. And
what if we craft some narrative around these games? What if we create some drama?
Right.
And you saw the news cycle take that and they spun it up, right? And it started to be, it used to be when I was a kid, Cowboys versus Eagles, Saturday at 2 p.m., and if you were a football guy, you would go watch that. Now it's like Jalen Hurts squares off with Dak Prescott for all the marbles, and it's like this infotainment narrative.
Yeah.
Why? Because people had hard approbation to adopting the NFL as a product, people who are not football people, and they needed a way to engage them. That's a perfect metaphor for what we're trying to do here. Like,
it's really the only sport that has experienced so much success, and it is probably due to the market.
Yeah, 100%. To the point that Taylor Swift's going to Chief games. I just saw an analysis that she's generated.
She's dating a player, right? Is that
Travis Kelce? Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm not a sports guy, and I'm not a Taylor Swift guy, so I'm kind of reading headlines. I'm not really reading the story.
The Chiefs are playing that smartly, and so is the NFL. People are pissed that they cut to her face every 30 seconds, but I just saw an analysis. I think it was by Forrester or somebody like that, that she's created the equivalent of $350 million in intrinsic value for the franchise and the NFL in the last 8 weeks.
But somehow this has become political, right?
I don't know. I don't miss politics on that level is not my thing.
So. Yeah, it's political somehow. I've seen that the right is trying to do something. I like I said, I don't know the story. I've only seen the headlines, so I couldn't tell you.
Don't get me started on the right. Let's just keep it moving.
Well, I don't mind talking about anything, just so you know. This is about marketing, so I'll try to bring it back. I want to let people have a few really simple things you can do that can help you lodge from a marketing standpoint. Like, I don't
100%.
good, as you said, it's probably don't spend your money on dumb things. Don't get a bench or a billboard or an ad at your local movie theater. Like, don't do that.
Right.
If you're going to spend money, spend it very, very wisely, because unless it's your money, you have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that it's going to make an impact if you're going to spend money in the lodge.
Right.
So don't
I can give you like a brief checklist, like where to spend money and where to not when it comes to marketing. If you're talking about the craft, right?
Let's
like,
do it.
Bullet item number 1 on the checklist: are people able to engage in the format that you're spending money on?
And what do you mean by engagement?
So here's what I'm talking about. Like, the craft in Florida spends, as far as I understand, a great deal of money on billboards, for instance, or we have in the past. If I'm in my car driving past that billboard at 60 miles an hour, what do you expect me to do?
Right.
What is it that I'm supposed to do? Can I type that URL into my browser while I'm driving? Not unless I want to get into a wreck. Like, is there a QR code I can scan on it? Nope. Am I going to call a phone number? No.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, I just left work and I've got the day's business on my mind and I'm stressed and I'm not paying attention. It's a bad modality. People can't engage with it, right?
Yeah. So no, engagement means you're expecting someone to be able to take an action based on whatever you did that can lead to the outcome you want. Now,
right.
The billboard example you gave, I want to go back to the franchise model. That is an acceptable form of advertisement for the Grand Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
They should be spending money on changing the public perception of Freemasonry, and a billboard can do that. It can.
Yes.
Someone sees it every day. Maybe they start to think, "Oh, Freemasons, yeah, I know there's a lodge because I have a billboard." Like, they don't fear it as much because it got into their consciousness. Now, that's not the kind of advertising a lodge should be doing. We have to be thinking transactional. Right. This is the franchise model. They should be spending the money in the way that's going to help us get more conversions when we spend money.
Right.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah. Branding, the concept of branding is based on, there's a threshold of preeminence that you have to be beyond before it makes sense, right? Like, Coca-Cola spends a great deal of money on top of mind advertising.
Right.
So when you're thirsty, the first thought that comes to your mind is Coca-Cola. The neophyte, marketing neophyte, the person who doesn't understand marketing, thinks that that's what all marketing should do. That's absolutely not what we need to do at the lodge level. We gotta put a decision in front of people that they can make in real time in a format that it's not so egregious for them to do it. Right. So, like, this is why I love social media, because you're on social media goofing off anyway. Yeah. So, like, the mental barriers that I have to jump through to gain your attention and hold it are way less than almost any other format. Because you're on there. If I say something interesting and compelling, you will stop what you're doing and engage with it.
Yeah.
That situation doesn't exist in almost any other format.
No. And the cost is actually very affordable compared to more traditional, larger scale marketing platforms. Like Google.
And it's super targeted. Think about waste for a minute. Like, let's just go back to the billboard example. Like, I agree with you. I think the Grand Lodge should do that, but let's assume for a minute, or let's talk about paid placement in a newspaper at the lodge level. Sounds like something we would do, right?
No.
That it doesn't meet those requirements. Like, it just doesn't work.
But we hopefully because I feel like I'm older than you. I've been used up and abused more than you. You still got the fire. There's some miles left in this guy right here. So I'm hoping that you and other people like you can get us on a more comprehensive relationship in marketing with the Grand Lodge of Florida and the lodges individual units or franchises. First of all, you got to wake them up that their job is to sell the product. That's what we're here to do. Sorry, I hate to tell you. And that's not the sole reason we're here, but we have a charter for that purpose. Mm-hmm. And if you're an officer of the lodge, you have a responsibility to grow your lodge. That's the deal. And the Grand Lodge needs to supply us with the tools to do that. And they're starting to, at least.
They're trying. Yeah, we're making progress.
And they can spend money too. And like billboards isn't bad for them to do. They can do display advertising, just buckshot Freemasonry everywhere. So people are seeing it all over the place. And then when we spend our money, it's easier for us to catch the fish.
100%. But here's the thing. Like, the top of mind advertising, even at the Grand Lodge level, assumes that there's a favorable and sufficiently valued opinion of Freemasonry for people to then take action on that. If the situation in reality is that people do not have a sufficiently favorable opinion,
and they don't,
then we have to find narrative formats.
Yes.
We must. And this is why the reimbursement program is so brilliant, because it's video advertising. And it's literally answering the questions. What are you guys doing? Why? Yeah. What benefit does it have in the community? What benefit does it have to the individual man? In a tight, succinct, minute, 30-second format where people can then understand that, this is intrinsically, inherently valuable to the man and to the community. And that is hugely important.
They can visualize themselves in the story.
Right.
That's the really important thing. Like, I really want to have friends like that I can high five at the pool table, smoking a cigar, drinking a whiskey. That isn't a fantasy. That's really what we're selling in the fraternity. It's real. And we do it all the time. Does anyone take a picture and post it on the lodge page? They should.
Well, so let's get back to the things you can do, because you're on the hunt now, and we're getting close to. Yeah. Unlike the last time, we've spent an hour basically already, so this is going pretty quickly. But let's get back to what you can do, and I'll throw out some ideas.
Go for it.
I created a course, an online course that literally lists out these things. Here's what you can do to help the craft if you want to help the craft, but you're not a tech guru.
Is this something they can find online somewhere?
Well, yes, but I sent it to the Grand Lodge, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to watch it, and we'll get back to you." And me being me, I have analytics, and I know that nobody's watched it. So,
I'm sorry, man. Don't lose hope.
I'm not. I'm just going to keep. I'm going to keep knocking on the door.
Yeah. The thing is,
to any extent,
I told you this, and it's very true in the fraternity. Everyone wants to be part of the winning team. Nobody wants to do any work. What you're presenting requires them to learn stuff, and they're not about that. Okay, that's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. But when you come with results, or somebody else comes with your results, they can't avoid it. They have to listen.
Right.
We've been doing the Grand Lodge Marketing Reimbursement Program for 3 years in Florida. There's no way you can get a Grand Lodge person that can explain it to you.
Right.
They don't know how it works. They don't understand it. All they know is it can work, and it doesn't cost. We got to do it, and it only happened because they were getting reports from different DDGMs throughout the state that heard stuff. Yep. That's how I got their attention. I had to do it grassroots from results. Nobody listened to me. I had a PowerPoint deck I was sending to high up people, and like you, I don't know that they ever got looked at by anybody.
Well, I know, because I built analytics into my course that I created, so I know exactly who watched and who hasn't. And so I already know, but it's okay. I ain't mad. Yeah. It's just, it's early days. Sorry.
Get back to your list. All
right. Here's what you can, if you want to help the craft, here's what you can do. Go to the local lodges let's just say in your district, follow all their Facebook pages. That will help. Okay. When they create content, like I'm going to explain how Facebook works in a very short, without using any massively big words. I'm not going to use the A word.
Syllable words.
Not going to do it. All right. Facebook, not just Facebook, all marketers make money on attention.
Yeah.
Attention is the currency that we use to do what we do. Attention is super valuable. If you think about why does LeBron James make the money that he makes? Some people go, I don't understand why this man makes this money to play a game. If you think he's making the money to play a game, you are a fool. He's making the money because he's a super athlete who people cannot look away from. He's making the money because he's a locus of attention. You see, attention is the whole game, because attention can be monetized ultimately, right? We can turn attention into money. That's what we do. We're good at that. So especially Facebook,
social media platforms.
Yeah. So if Facebook wants to make money, what do they need? They need attention. Attention on Facebook looks like people scrolling down the timeline, right? You understand every fifth or sixth post you see on Facebook is an ad.
Right.
If nobody's scrolling, there's nowhere to put an ad.
Tell the average layperson how they can tell it's an ad, because they probably don't even know they're looking at them.
Well, it says advertisement on the top corner for one thing.
It says sponsored right there on the top.
Yeah.
But people, psychologically, they kind of tune it out. They don't even see the sponsored anymore. They just don't know that it's an ad.
Right. So, but to any extent, this is why Facebook cares so much about you. When you get their quarterly reports, I'd advise you, if you don't understand Facebook, to buy one share of Facebook stock, so you get access to all the information that comes out, quarterly reporting, filings with the IRS, et cetera, et cetera. They focus really heavily on viewership, like amount of time that people spend on the platform. Why? If I'm scrolling, I'm creating ad inventory. If I'm not scrolling, no ad inventory. They make their money exclusively almost on advertising. And so if you want to raise the tide for your lodge, what you need to do is you need to convince Facebook that the content that your lodge is putting out is valuable and interesting. And if they assume that the content is valuable and interesting, they will syndicate it to I did it again. They will push it out to everyone, because more engagement equals more money. You see, it's simple. So what do I do, Jonathan, if I want to help my lodge become more visible in the community? You like and follow the Facebook page. Everything that they post, you do three things: like, comment, share.
Yep.
Right? So you like it, you hit the little thumbs up button. A lot of you guys are great at that. I thank you for your effort. I really do. But if you like a post and do not do anything further, you never comment, you never share, actually what you're telling Facebook is that this is interesting but irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because likes are a throwaway metric to Facebook. What they benchmark on very heavily are comments and shares, because it requires you to do something. Ergo, it's a great proxy for how interesting and motivating and engaging is this content. So if you're just that guy who's either lurking, and by lurking I mean you scroll all day, you laugh, ha, ha, very funny, brother, but you never hit the like button, start doing that. And if you're the guy that only hits the like button, like taking 30 seconds to make a meaningful comment, and you can't just be like, good job.
Yeah.
The algorithm knows what you're doing. Okay.
Yep.
It's a very smart. You have to be like, I really enjoyed XYZ about your post. It takes 2 minutes to do. If you will do that, you will find that your lodge achieves what we call organic syndication, which means that Facebook is pushing it out there because it's interesting and engaging, and people are going to see that and engage with it. They're going to stay on the platform longer. They're going to scroll longer. Facebook's going to make more money.
You're essentially making your lodge an authority.
Yes. You're lending your consumer authority to your lodge by liking, commenting, sharing. That's all you got to do. Just do that. Let's start there.
Right. Engage.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of Facebook groups out there, guys, where you can get a lot of really good information. Articles are getting published all the time on Facebook groups. People are, I interviewed a guy that has a Facebook page called Past Master's Thoughts. He just, whenever he's sitting outside having a drink and smoking a cigar, he writes down some thoughts. And that's his spiel. It's awesome. It's not a huge in-depth research article. It's like a little tidbit that every day you can start a conversation around. And so there's tons of interesting stuff out there. And Facebook has a little search bar in the upper left-hand corner. You can search keywords there, like Facebook Florida or Freemasonry Florida, for example. And you'll see all kinds of pages that exist that cater to you, a Mason in Florida. And like the page, you're going to see the content. Like the content, comment on it, share it with your lodge. Now your lodge 100%. Is getting more information, right? Be the creator of ecosystem here.
Just got to engage. Find things you're interested in. There's a niche for everything, But definitely the thing for the particular lodge that will raise the tide more than anything, just engage with what if you got a guy I have almost stopped posting on my lodge Facebook page because it's crickets. You know what I mean? And so the return on effort for me is really low. And if people would just like, comment, and share, we would become preeminent in this community very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And
they are seeing it. They're seeing it. They're just not.
They're seeing it.
They're just not doing the action.
Right.
There's the other thing is like people to tell the story. You have to tell the story. You got to do that. So if you're in lodge doing catechism instruction, it's just you and 3 guys. What a waste of opportunity to not take a picture and post that and tag those guys in it. If you can, look at how to tag somebody in a post, because then it shows up in their feed and all their friends and family see it. A lot of people just saw that your picture, one picture. And then if you tag 3 people, that's, even larger sets of group of people that are seeing it. It's viral marketing.
There's a core of guys who are really good at this. Almost all of them are under the age of 45.
Yeah.
Which is why I created the training product, because I wanted to help brothers who are interested in knowing what to do, know how to do it. You know what I mean? But we'll get there, man.
We should build a massive resource page that's like a wiki with video tutorials on everything, like a Masonic video wiki. Type in search and you get all these results of videos to answer your questions.
I'm into that, actually. That's a cool idea. Like a knowledge management sort of thing.
Yeah. And it gets aged out, so you got to constantly be updating. But it's worth the effort, I think, if we can help these guys.
That alone would probably garner a significant amount of attention. Wikis are great for SEO and brand building and all those things. So,
getting back to the marketing, what you said is great for the everyday average Mason. You don't have to be a lodge officer to do that. You don't even have to be going to lodge to do it. You can do it from the bathroom toilet, which hopefully you have some time there. You might as well be while you're in there.
That's all it is. You just got to get super effective with your downtime, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a lodge officer, I think you need to elevate your consciousness a step.
Correct.
And start thinking about creating these content. You know?
And the thing is, you are creating the content. You're just not capturing it and sharing it. Those officer meetings, when you have a minute and if you're a loner like me, I make those minutes where I can be alone doing my own thing. And I look up and I see everybody having a great time. Boom. Snap a photo. That's real.
That's super important. Like we always want to talk about benefits and cost analysis and value differential between value and cost. Like people, honest to God, want to have fun. So anytime you're doing something fun and you don't have a million pictures, like you missed an opportunity.
It's not staged. Those candid photos speak volumes to people that aren't Masons.
Yeah.
To see a group of guys having a good time on a Tuesday afternoon with no alcohol or strippers in the picture, like what? Even the wives are going to be okay with this when they see what's going on.
Right. And you're going to eat so much green beans that you're going to lose 20 pounds. Like the wife's going to be happy.
No, you're not. You're going to have spaghetti and mashed potatoes. Yeah. There's no healthy food in I don't think I've ever had a healthy meal at a lodge I visited ever.
I just cooked up a pot of beef stew over here. It's getting ready to go down as soon as we're done recording this.
But would you serve it in the lodge?
Oh, well, yeah, but I don't know if it scales because my beef stew is not like peasant food. It's like, so I start with some olive oil and I saute some onions in there.
Yeah.
And then I take my beef tips and coat them in flour and drop them in potatoes and make almost like a base for a goulash or something like that. Then in goes the red wine, and we do a red wine reduction.
A roux? Is that what it's called?
It's a roux, yeah. I wasn't going to use the word because I didn't think anybody knew what I was talking about.
I love to cook, man.
It's a roux. I start with a potato onion roux, and then I add my beef tips, which are coated in flour. Do a red wine reduction on that, and then go all the other vegetables and everything and seasonings, and then it's legit, like primo. I would do it in the lodge, but
I want this beef stew now. Damn it!
It's not going to be any left. I promise.
Well, you'll have to invite me over and make it for me one night. I'll definitely.
Yeah, man. If you got to come through. I know you still go down to Sarasota.
Yes,
you've got to come through Jacksonville to get there.
You're like 3-hour drive from me. Maybe.
Yeah, we need to make this happen.
Well, we got to get a private plane first of all. Then it becomes a 20-minute trip, not easy.
I'm working on it. Let
Okay.
me continue to scale my business over here, and we may be able to do it.
So here's one more thing. We cannot leave without talking about the fact that Mason lodges should have websites. Okay. This is a problem though, because most lodges don't have anyone that can maintain a website or build a website.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd like to see in the future, and you can work on this, is the Grand Lodge has its own website. And I believe they should set up little microsites under that Grand Lodge website for each lodge, and they should maintain
templated.
It. They're already updating the officers every year. Why do I have to update the officers too?
If you want to get wild and crazy, with a couple of modifications,
look different than the one down the street. Completely different. It's not a consistent brand. So
100%. If you want to get wild and crazy, we have this whole database that everybody's in. If you took a few small steps like uploading headshots for each individual, you could push all that information out. You wouldn't even have to maintain it. Like, you change it in the database, it changes on the website. I'm not going to explain how that works because people's heads will melt down. But I'm going to be in. Well, I just wrote a book on online training and pedagogy, so I think that the craft wants to go in the direction of more of an on-demand MLT. And Linwood Thomas is going to be the state guy. So, but the database that we have is super good, but we're not using it at all. So I'm hoping we can make some progress on that.
Yeah, I mean, they have all the data to make it easy for the lodges to not have to think about it or worry about it, and have all the content there.
Are you guys on like WordPress or Joomla, or what is this?
This is a WordPress website for Sarasota Lodge. And
it's easy.
It's exactly what you're talking about. You got pictures, you got where you're from, you can email the person and a description of what the heck they do.
Yeah.
Every lodge should have something like that.
I agree.
And what is Freemasonry and a little bit of history. Everyone loves to tell about the presidents or the founding fathers that were Masons. Put it on the website, because the website's not for Masons. The website's for those people who are just doing research about Masonry. And
so you're getting into SEO now. You're going to cause the crap to have a meltdown.
This is important. SEO is marketing. Yeah.
SEO stands for search engine optimization, if you didn't know. So when you have a website and you begin to put lots of content on the website, like for me, I would want to make a post about every event that we do, everything, all of the Masonic leadership training stuff that you're doing, Masonic, education in the lodge. If it's non-tiled, I'd be making posts about that stuff, because when the website starts to have a critical mass of information about a given topic, Google assumes that it has authority and knowledge about that topic, and it starts diverting people to your site who are looking for specific things, right? So if you're curious about Freemasonry, and I have a website that talks about Freemasonry in great depth, the chances of me showing up as a result of a search about Freemasonry are good. Well, they're better. Over time, as you accumulate those things, you become more and more of an authority. And what happens in the long run, if you do this well for a long period of time, people just start showing up on your door. Like, hey, I saw your website and I read all about this and that and the other thing, and I'm interested. And obviously that's much easier than going out and finding people. And so we call that organic marketing, and that's based on SEO, which is search engine optimization. It's complicated, fancy. Just do it. Don't worry about why. Just do it.
Well, I have members of my lodge. I have a worshipful master of my lodge. That's a master because we had a website.
How about that?
He was looking for Freemasonry. He found 2 websites about Freemasonry near him, and he called the one that looked the most modern and professional. We got a Mason because we had a website, and I'm pretty sure that happens all the time if you have an updated website, because it's not very competitive.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people trying to rank for Freemasonry in Pinellas County. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to be at the top if you just have a website. You don't have to know how to do SEO. You just got to put it there. And you have to.
I think we're making progress. It's slow progress, and at times it's frustrating, but I think people are beginning to understand that we got to do something a little differently, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to be a little bit of an uphill battle, not because of the people that are listening to this podcast. Predominantly, they're on board as tech adopters, but to the people who to the brothers that were still mailing out the trestle board, you know what I'm talking about.
I'm still fighting with my own lodge. We spend $2,500 a year mailing trestle boards every month to 350 members.
Bro, get an email address. Like, what are we doing? But so it's not the people who are listening to this podcast that are slowing the progress by any stretch. It's the rest of them, and that's okay. I don't want to come off like I'm down on the craft. I'm passionate about the craft, which is 100%. Why I care. Yeah. Otherwise, I got a million other things I could be doing. You know what I mean? So
I think you're onto something. You said that we need to kind of get together and form a mastermind group, and I think we should. I think we should get us people that are Masons that are into marketing, and we should start a group, and we should start coordinating efforts together, because that's probably how we're going to get faster results than us independently working in silence. It's easy to silence one guy in a corner. It's not so easy to silence 15 guys that know what they're talking about and are getting their act together and sharing resources.
And organizing. It's always that, that piece. I mean, I just feel grateful to you personally for all that you've already done in that vein, because you really did the legwork. Like, it was so easy for me. It was still a bit of a fight, but it was way easier for me to go into the lodge and say, here's what's happening. Like, these
did
are
you
data.
do that?
I did. Yeah.
You did. Mm-hmm. How was it?
I had a few detractors. Yeah. But they were predominantly speaking from a place of lack of understanding and fear.
Fear. It's always that fear.
Yeah. And so it was brilliant, because I was able to say, well, ultimately, I hedged it in terms of risk management. Ultimately, what are we risking? We're risking $600, which I just heard the treasurer's report. We have it, right? And it's going to get reimbursed. So what is the risk really? The risk is that it doesn't work and I get embarrassed. How does that personally affect you? You know what I mean?
I think the other major fear I've heard over the years is that you're going to let in a crazy person. We're going to get crazy people, and they're going to, I don't know what they think they're going to do.
Well, it's still a process. We're going to do a background check. We're going to make them hang around. You know what I mean? So if they're not going to come to family night and like come get introduced at the lodge meeting and, after the flag ceremony, and then we invite them to kick rocks. All right. If they're not going to do that kind of stuff, they're not going to get in anyway. So, which is exactly what I had to do. I don't really see the risk.
Yeah, and look, they let you in.
Right. And I always said I wouldn't be a part of any fraternity that would have me, but here we are.
Right, so here we go.
I don't mix with those kind of people.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, we got to stay an outsider within the fraternity. That's how I justify it,
Yeah.
I'm not really connected. I don't really know anything or anybody.
Gosh, well, it's a promised land I've already been to. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. You understand what I'm saying, Chris Burns? Like, I've been to the promised land of like demand generation, which is ultimately what we're talking about. How do you create demand for the craft? That's what I do all day, every day, and I'm good at it. And I make a lot of money to do it. And so when people are like conceptually fighting you, it's like, I know this works. Like, I know that I know, and I know how to do. It's not just that I know how it works or that it will work. I know exactly what to do in what order to arrive there.
Yeah, and repeat that action. Yeah,
right. And so if you're a woodworker, and you do woodworking for a living, and I come in and I'm like, I don't think you really need to use a bandsaw on that. You're going to be like, why are you talking to me? Like, and it's some of that, and like I'm having to, like, honest to God, I don't want to be that way. I'm trying not to be like arrogant or haughty about it. You know
it's
what I mean?
Part of your journey in masonry. You were meant to be tested, man. This will help you circumscribe your passions.
It's a great way to put it. Yeah, like my mentor, I always shout him out. Linwood Thomas, my mentor.
I met him for the first time when I met you, and my impression of him, and I think I'm pretty good at first impressions. When you're an introvert, you're a people watcher. I watch people way more than those people, and I found him to be a really authentic, genuine person. And
best
that came across
human being,
like right away.
Yeah, just an amazing human being. Like, someone for whom I have a deep amount of respect. He won Mason of the Year last week in our district, in District 8.
That's right. Worshipful Linwood Thomas?
No, just worshipful. He's not
Just
even right
worshipful.
worshipful yet.
Okay.
I think the man can do whatever he wants, to be honest with you. Like,
Well, if you're
I
listening,
think
Grand Lodge of Florida, what district are you in?
I'm in District 8.
District 8. Linwood Thomas needs the title of right worshipful. He's got some light to spread in that district. Come on,
You'll be hearing from him. He's going to be the head of Masonic leadership training in the state this year.
Yeah.
And so he's going to have a bit of a platform there. But honest to God, like he's already like it doesn't even start until I think June or May or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's already got it organized. Like he's got all the information. He's already identified opportunities for improvement. He's got a plan. He's got a process for how he's going to do it. He's leveraging me on the tech aspects of it, which is smart.
This is what
he's a killer.
Do.
He's a killer. Like he's completely capable. He's one of those people that if you give him more, he will do more with it. But
good
honestly,
leaders
that's who he
put
is.
their aces in their places.
Yep.
Good leaders let people fly. Right? You're a tech guy. You knows that he needs to get you into that role because you're making his job so much easier.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just plug in their friends into these roles as like a reward system. Like I got to give my buddies their jobs. No, Freemasonry is about who best can work. Put the right people in the right jobs and watch. We'll fly, man.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for it. I haven't heard any negative stuff. Like to get his own job. Like I'm the only person on the MLT list on the whole roster that isn't worshipful or right worshipful. You know, the only guy. Now, which is not to say I'm unqualified, right? Like I was a master training instructor in the military. I just wrote a book about online training and pedagogy. Like I have 2 graduate degrees. I can do the job, and I will execute on it 100%.
This goes back to I made a post that wasn't 100% positive in the comments. Imagine, and I didn't write it. I don't know where I got it. We'll have to look. Imagine if we didn't introduce people by their titles, but by their character.
Ooh.
Imagine if we didn't say, this is brother Jonathan. He has no titles. We said, this is Jonathan who served the military for X amount of years and has lost friends in combat and, has struggled and overcome with this and has achieved this level of expertise in that. Like, how much better will it be than saying, he's a worshipful? Oh, worshipful. Yes, worshipful. Yes. Like, no,
I'm going to tell you right now, right worshipful is as right worshipful does. Just because you were that guy at a point in time in history, and in all due respect to people who have done things for the craft that I have not done, but then you got to perpetuate that title. Like I'm going to call you right worshipful, but there comes with that a mandate to be a real human being and to help the lodge and the craft. Worshipful, right worshipful, all these titles. So like I'm not in a super big hurry to get them because to me that means now I got to catch another gear. I got to find another level. And I'm giving to the craft as I am capable of doing.
Yeah.
But I'm still a working man. I'm still in my working prime. I'm working 60 hours a week on top of, you know what I mean? Like I think I did 15 degrees like my first 6 months. Like
nice.
Just sitting in various chairs because I'm hungry to learn it and I want to know about it. I was just senior warden in an intern apprentice degree night before last, and that was good fun because it was a Callahan Lodge, and I'm gonna give another shout out to my brother Chase from Callahan Lodge, who is the senior deacon.
Chase
but
who?
Crap, I can't remember his last name. You would do me like that.
Chase, the senior deacon from Callahan Lodge.
He's got a glorious mullet. You'll know him when you see him.
A mullet.
Oh yeah, it's Callahan, man. Come on. But he stepped up to be the worshipful master for the degree. And I was the senior warden. And so everybody, or at least the primary positions, were filled by young Masons who are out here doing it, and it was just really refreshing to me to be a part of that because the older, more experienced guys were there, and this was a beautiful environment. Mistakes were made, but nobody was catcalling like divesting from the sidelines. You know what I mean? Nobody was doing that. Everybody was like, if the young man had a moment where he couldn't recall, everybody was quiet and just waited on him and gave him the love and the support, and and he got through it, and he did the work, and I'm super proud of him. To me, that's what the craft should be. It's all about the love, man.
Support.
How do we help each other?
Lifting up.
Yeah.
Always
So
lifting up. Yep.
anyway, I don't know how we got on that, but I'm shouting out people from my district now. So,
Well, listen, you and I, we got to start rallying the troops here. We got to get a cabal of marketing gurus that are Masons together, and we got to start working together instead of alone. I'm going to do it. We'll start with a Facebook group, and let's see where it goes. I'm building an app right now. This is what I'm saying. And you just said you were in X degrees in X amount of time, but nobody knows that.
yeah,
Nobody knows
true.
that. We need an app where you can, every time you're in a degree, tally. It's on your profile. People can see what proficiencies you have, what parts you know, and what degrees. Imagine if you have a degree and you need a senior deacon because he dropped out yesterday. An app where you could be like, I need a senior deacon, and it gives you a list of names of guys in the 4 lodges next to you. You can message them in real time. Yes, I can make it tomorrow. Boom, done. Come on.
Yeah, that would be
We
cool.
need tools for real Masons, right?
It's almost like an expansion of Amity. Like if you were to build social on top of Amity or something.
Tomorrow I'm recording with Jeremy Barnes, the guy that built Amity. And I've been talking to him. I've been talking to him about this for 4, maybe 5 years. But he's going from the top. He's making connections with grand jurisdictions. He's working on recognition, right? This is where and I'm talking about the bottom. I'm talking about the brothers, everyday Masons that need tools in everyday life. So I think we can really meet in the middle there. He can cover the top, and we can come up from the bottom. And if we can combine somehow at some point, it's going to be a good day for Masons.
I really have a vision for that platform, which is ironic because it's not mine in any way. He doesn't have, Jeremy, you need not listen or care about my vision. I will not be offended. But a tiled network on top of Amity where you can have posts and discussions, about tiled material and esoteric material at depth, knowing that everybody on the platform is a Freemason, is a Master Mason. And what that would do for the general level of knowledge and understanding of the craft would be tremendous, wouldn't it? I mean, I would do daily. I would write every day because I'm over here writing articles and stuff and posting them as like crickets. Nobody cares. And I can't really write about the good stuff because it includes tiled information. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even a private Facebook group, you don't know who's controlling it or vetting or
right.
You know what I mean? You still might get into trouble even in a private Facebook group. I never share anything, even in the private Facebook groups that I think are iffy, just because I don't want to.
I will 100% get into trouble. I'm magnetic. I don't know why, but people pay attention to me. Like, so I gotta really, really focus on what I say and do.
Yeah.
I have that burden, so it is what it is.
Well, it's your energy, man. It's definitely people are attracted to positive energy, and you put off positive vibes.
I try. It's intentional. It's intentional. Like I came out of the wars like deeply cynical and wounded, and so it's something I've spent a lot of time and energy on, like sort of leveling up the way that I project. And it has business implications. Like I was struggling in business at first because of this negative, cynical energy, So I have to focus on projecting an aura of, benevolence.
But you're a smart guy too. Like I was at Tom McLeod's installation with Jonathan, and like I said, I'm a people watcher, so I kind of vampired into a corner there, and I saw you observing before you engaged. You spent some time observing the room, watching the situation. I watched you observing before you engaged, and you started finding some people to talk to. You're picking your moments and who you were going to engage with. So
got to see who's who first, right?
I can see that it's an intentional effort from you.
Yeah.
To be that way.
It's survival, right? Like I said, I am an introvert, so I have a limited gas tank for that sort of thing. So, got to make it count. Who are we going to engage with today and why? And try to have strategy. Like I don't want it to seem like fake because I think most of those engagements are organic and are real. They're real engagements, but I certainly don't. If I know who's who, I'm not going to waste any time on fools. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it is what it is. I don't know if that's cold or not. Certainly I respect and appreciate every brother, but there are some people who are not my people. You know what I mean?
I had a gym class when I was young, and the gym teacher said his theory is we're born with a specific number of heartbeats. And so his idea is you exercise to elevate your heart rate so that at rest it's a lot lower, which is what you should be at most of the time, thereby saving your heartbeats and living a longer life. And that's kind of where I'm at with my time. I only have a small amount of time. And with the time I have, I'm not wasting it with empty conversations that I know are fake or meaningless or pointless. Like, I just don't have time for that anymore because I'm more aware of my time as I get closer to the end of it. So I want to maximize what I do with my time. And that includes not having dumb conversations that aren't going anywhere. I say that, but I don't know how many hours of me are on the internet right now talking about fart jokes and stuff. So I guess I'm a bit of a hypocrite.
Aren't we all?
It's a story I tell myself. Well, I appreciate you being on, Jonathan. This isn't going to be your last time, I hope.
No, man, we got more stuff to discuss. Next time it can't be marketing, though. Everybody wants to discuss socioeconomics with me. Economics is a beautiful quasi-science, but, you're making decisions for the lives of millions of people based upon economic principle, which is not really principle. It's all supposition. Economics uses statements like on average, all else equal,
right?
Because it's a quasi-science, right? And so we're making, we got to get back to humanism a little bit to get to achieve our potential as a nation. I think it's a nation of people.
No.
And if you're going to do that, then you have to ask yourself the question, and this is where it gets tricky. If we're a nation of people, what's Mexico?
Exactly.
What's Ukraine? What's Palestine?
Yeah.
They're just people, man.
Right.
All these arbitrary separations that we put between ourselves, those are our brothers and sisters. We are all connected. If you don't feel that, if you don't resonate on that level, we probably don't have a lot to talk about,
You're absolutely right. And that's why I was sharing the story, because if you can start your conversation from a human standpoint, you can have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just want to come in with Ukraine is the most corrupt country in the world and doesn't deserve aid, we can't even have the conversation because we're not talking about the people of Ukraine now. You're talking about the 25 guys that run the country. And that's not the conversation we're trying to have here about these people in their country. You got to start from a place of humanity and love and compassion and a little bit of empathy.
Sure. Unless you want to say that, unless you want all Americans benchmarked off of AOC and Nancy Pelosi, in which case go ahead with that narrative, because that's the reciprocal, right?
Yeah.
I have no problem with that because, again, I'm fairly liberal, but there are a lot of conservatives listening to this going, oh, God, no. Right? But that's the point.
It is the point, because they liked you before they heard that. Now they're like, F this guy. No, you can't say F this guy. He's still the nice guy that you love. He's still the military guy that fought for his country. He is all those things.
I know it's an unpopular take that we're not the greatest country on the earth. I don't know that there is a greatest country. It's a overly simplistic statement. Every country is great in some way, and every country has detractors and things that are not great.
Right.
And that's my perspective. I can't walk past the problems with the United States. There are things that,
that's the crux of the thing, is that you live here, so you see all the problems because you care, and
I'm not going to bury my head in the sand. There's a solution, and you
want to do something about it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where I'm at. Not to say that anybody who sacrificed for this country did so in vain. I don't believe that. I believe it's infinitely worth sacrificing for, and for what it is, I think it's the purest expression of what is possible.
You're speaking to not just the state of Florida now, you're speaking to the whole world. All the Masons in the world. What would you leave them with?
I think Freemasonry can save the world if we let it. Honest to God. I think that if we could get Israelis and Palestinians in a lodge together, we could squash it. Right? And because inherently we're going to move past all the religion and all the politics, and we're going to look at each other as men, and we're going to find a common ground and a way to move forward. I think Freemasonry can save the whole world. And that's why I'm so passionate about getting it in front of people.
That's a good way to send us out. I love it. Love is the answer. Thank you, Jonathan Greene. We'll see you next time on the Level Podcast. Thank you for listening. If you made it to the end, you're a hero.